Ang math ay easy lang. Basta't alam mo kung paano sumunod sa mga rules and regulations nito. Ako po si Ma'am Carol, isang guro ng mathematics.
Hello mga kamath! So sa video ito, ang gagawin natin ngayon ay sasagutan ang mga viral math problems na posted dun sa Facebook page ng channel natin. So this is a review of MDAS and Pemdas. So underneath dito sa slide na to, dito yung mga post math problems doon sa page at iisa-isahin natin ang pagsasagot sa mga to para may closure. Kasi maraming nakikita ako ng mga arguments on the answers for these problems, and we know for a fact that when it comes to arithmetic problems such as this, there is only one answer. So, unique lang siya. So, ang gagawin natin to resolve yung mga disputes about this ay sasagutan na natin siya. So, the first posted problem is this. What is the answer for 7 plus 7 divided by 7 plus 7 times 7 minus 7? And before we answer that, let us remind ourselves with the MDAS rule. Kasi ito yung lagi-lagi nating isa sa puso, kumbaga. When we do problems like this in mga civil service examination or mga entrance exams, always remind ourselves with the rules in math. So sabi dito sa MDAS rule, start with multiplication or division, working from left to right. So, naka-emphasize dito yung word na or. Okay? Because, again, dun sa MDAS rule, pag nauuna yung letter M, it doesn't mean na laging mauuna ang multiplication. It should be either multiplication or division, working from left to right. And then after solving all multiplication or division on that line, you have to do addition or, again, or subtraction. So meaning, hindi laging nauuna yung addition. So it's either addition or subtraction as long as you work from left to right. So let us solve. So here, dito sa line na to, nilagyan ko ng red yung magkaparehong priority. So sabi natin dito sa MDAS, multiplication or division. So naka-red na yung 7 divided by 7 at saka yung 7 times 7. Now, sabi dito, we have to work from left to right. So, simula dito, papunta sa kanan. So, ano yung uunahin natin? Uunahin muna natin yung 7 divided by 7. At tapos yung 7 times 7. That's why on this line, so we copied 7, tapos plus. We already answered this. 7 divided by 7 ay 1. Plus, 7 times 7 is 49. At saka minus 7. So what is left on this line is purely addition and subtraction only. We already finished with the operation of division and multiplication. So the last thing is, sabi, do the addition or subtraction working from left to right. So simula kaliwa, papunta sa kanan. So 7 plus 1 is 8. Plus 49 ay 57. Minus 7, that's equal to 50. That is our final answer. So for the problem 7 plus 7 divided by 7 plus 7 times 7 minus 7, the final answer is 50. For the next problem, we have 2 plus 8 divided by 4 times 6 minus 5. And since this is just a simple series of operation, we are then again reminded of the MDAS rule. So I have just explained this on the previous slide. Okay, so let us solve na. So working for the operations multiplication or division from left to right, I made this red. So kasi it involves multiplication and division. So we have 8 divided by 4 times 6. Okay? So yon. So siya yung naka-red. So what's next? So isa-isahin natin yung operation para mas malinaw yung answer natin. So ang uunahin muna natin dito ay yung 8 divided by 4. That's why on this next line, we have equals and then we copied 2 and then plus. We have answered this. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Ito yun. So, yun yung sagot. And then times yung operation natin ng multiplication, and then 6, and then we copied minus 5. Naka-red pa rin siya kasi hindi pa naman tayo tapos dun sa first rule na priority, multiplication or division. So, after we have answered the division, we will now proceed with the answer with multiplication, yung 2 times 6. So, on the next line, we have already answered this. 2 times 6 is 12. That's why we copied 2 and then plus the answer of 12 and then copied minus 5. So in this line, you notice again na we have already finished with the multiplication and division. So we will now proceed with addition or subtraction working from left to right. So let's solve using our mind. So 2 plus 12 is equal to 14 minus 5, our answer is 9. So the final answer for 2 plus 8 divided by 4 times 6 minus 5 is equal to 9. So for our next problem, it's still as simple as the first two previous questions kasi wala naman tayong nakikitang mga grouping symbols or exponents. So, it still follows the MDAS rule. And then, sa sobrang dami, let's count. Ilang 1 ba to? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 na 1. After nung ika-12 na 1, meron tayong times 0 and then plus 1 ulit. So, let's rewrite it. Ayan. So, eto na siya. So, may 11 dito. Yung ika-12, may kasamang times 0. So, yung ika-12 na 1, at saka yung times 0, nilagyan ko siya or ginawa ko siyang red, kasi siya yung uunahin natin na isolve. Okay? Kasi meron na ditong first rule. It falls under the first rule na start with multiplication or division. So, 1 times 0 yun. So, the answer for that is 0. So, again, we copied yung 11 na 1. And then, tapos may 0 tayo. Tapos yung nahuli na 1. And then, we will proceed with the second rule. Do the addition kasi wala naman tayong subtraction, diba? Proceeding from left to right. So, the final answer for this is 12. Okay, so for this very long series of operations, adding ones with 1 times 0 in the middle or near the end, ito yun. The final answer is 12. So I hope you get the correct answer. So para dito dun sa next problem natin, you will notice na meron na siyang grouping symbol. So, let's review the Pemdas rule. Start with the grouping symbol or parenthesis. So, let's start there. Simplify all operations inside to remove the grouping symbol. Ngayon, guys, if you are going to simplify the operations inside the grouping symbol, it still follows the MDAS rule. Okay? So, after daw na ma-simplify natin yon, we can remove this parenthesis to make everything looks familiar kasi yung ginagawa natin previously walang mga parentheses, so we can do that later and I will explain to you what happened when we remove the parentheses. So ang sabi daw dun sa PEMDAS, after removing the parentheses, you do the exponent. Now if there is exponent, you do that first. Pag wala, then we will proceed with the rule of MDAS. So let's see. So I made the grouping red to emphasize that we are going to solve this first. Okay? So here, sa loob, meron tayong 2 plus 2 times 0. And we have two different operations na may two different priorities. So meron tayong addition and multiplication. So sabi dun sa MDAS natin, let's start with the multiplication first before we do the addition. So let's see. So what happens is I made it purple para mapakita ko sa inyo na we are going to do this first according to the priority ng MDAS rule. So let's multiply first daw yung 2 times 0. So what's the answer for that? Of course, the answer for that is 0. So on this line, everything else stays. Pare-pareho lang naman. We just answered 2 times 0, which is 0. So what's next? Hindi pa natin naaalis yung parentheses. It's because we still have to do 2 plus 0. So 2 plus 0, I'm sure you know the answer for that. Hindi ko pa rin inalis yung grouping symbol. Ito yung i-explain ko. How do you remove this? Sabi ko dun sa mga previous videos ko about PEMDAS, when you have two numbers na ang nagsaseparate lang sa kanya ay parenthesis, it is an automatic multiplication. There is a multiplication, implied multiplication in between these two. So this expression is actually equal to 2 times 2. Okay? So, kaya nagkaroon ng ganito dito. I have removed the parenthesis as a grouping symbol, changed it into times 2 because that's the implied operation on this part. And then dito sa susunod, I made it red because according to MDAS rule, priority 1, we have on this line, we have to do multiplication or division working from left to right. But for this particular problem, we don't have division. So we will work with the two multiplication operations working from left to right. So here we have 2 times 2, answer is 4. And 2 times 0, the answer is 0. Okay? So on this line, we have already resolved the operations ng multiplication. So 2 plus 4 plus 0. And now we will proceed with addition. Wala naman tayong subtraction. Working from left to right. That's why the final answer is 6. So ang choices natin dito, we have 0, 2, 6, and 8. So the correct answer is yung letter C, 6. 6 yung sagot niya. Okay, so for this particular problem, we have 4 times the quantity 5 minus 3 squared minus 10 divided by 5 plus 8. So it's a little bit more complicated than the previous one kasi we have a grouping symbol and we have an exponent. So meron na tayong exponential expression. So okay, so let's remind ourselves with the PEMDAS rule. We'll start with the parenthesis, and then after the parenthesis, we do the exponent or the exponential expression, and then we proceed as in PEMDAS or MDAS. Okay, so I have just rewritten the problem here. And then dun sa second line, I just made the expression inside the parenthesis red to indicate that according to PEMDAS, we have to do this. This is our first priority. So we need to simplify. So 5 minus 3 inside the parentheses. Oh, that's simple enough. So the answer for that is 2. So we have 2 squared. Okay? So this now, itong expression na to becomes an exponential expression. Anyway, dito naman sa una, exponential expression naman siya eh. But here, dito sa third line, we have simplified it that we are going to do this first. Okay, so among all this, in this line, among all this, we have to proceed with simplifying the exponential expression. And 2 squared is 2 times 2. You multiply 2 times. Ito yung exponent na yan, siya yung nagsasabi na ilang beses. So, 2 times 2, the answer is 4. And that's why we have it here. Okay? So, medyo naka-block lang siya. Kasi nasagot na natin yung red dyan. So, on the next line, okay, so take note na wala na yung parentheses. As I have explained previously, pagka na-resolve mo na yung expression, there's an implied multiplication here. You can change this into multiplication sign and then the answer. Okay? So, just to emphasize yung mga dati nating lecture about removing the grouping symbol and making it as familiar as possible with our previous lectures. Kaya kailangan natin maging consistent. Kasi doon nalilito yung mga estudyante, yung biglang pabago-bago yung mga symbols na lumalabas doon sa expression. Sabihin hindi naman yun yung itinuro mo dati, bakit biglang naging ganun, di ba? So kaya yung mga bata nahihirapan kasi biglang lumabas yun. Hindi na niya na follow yung changes kasi nga baka na-distract or whatever. So, there, ha? So, pag inalis mo again yung grouping symbol at merong implied multiplication, you change that, gawin mong multiplication sign. So, there. So, now, on this line, we are now going to proceed. Sabi dito sa number 3, di ba? Proceed as in MDAS kasi wala na yung mga other symbols na nakalilito. So, naka-red na yung 4 times 4. At saka yung 10 divided by 5. And we will work from left to right. So, 4 times 4. So, what's the answer for that? Tapos, 10 divided by 5. So, there. Ito na yung sagot. So, we have 4 times 4 is 16. And then, minus. So, okay, we'll just copy the operation. And then, 10 divided by 5 is 2. And then, we just added plus 8. So in this line, we are going to proceed with addition or subtraction working from left to right. So it's 16 minus 2 plus 8. Multiplication working from left to right. So let's do this mentally. 16 minus 2 is 14. 14 plus 8 is 22. Yan. So, our final answer is 22. So, therefore, for the problem 4 times the quantity 5 minus 3 squared minus 10 divided by 5 plus 8, the final answer is 22. And for our last viral math problem, yan, laging merong mga arguments. So again, we are going to do the Pemdas rule. And I think this one is a little bit simpler than the previous one kasi wala tayong nakikitang exponent, right? Okay, so how are we going to solve for this? Yan, we just copied again the problem here. So nothing different there. Next line, we made 7 minus 5 red to emphasize that we are going to work on the grouping symbol first. Okay, so minus muna natin. And at the same time on this line, we solved it and removed the parentheses, indicating there is an implied multiplication in between 5 and 7 minus 5. So we have 5 times 2. So yan, obviously, yan yun. And working from left to right, ng MDAS, actually, hindi na natin magagawa yung second priority. Wala namang addition and subtraction dyan, di ba? So, let's work from left to right. 60 divided by 5 is 12. 12 times 2, yan, is 24. So the final answer for 60 divided by 5 times the quantity 7 minus 5, the answer is 24. So I hope that lahat ng mga sumagot dun sa viral math problems natin, na-resolve na yung mga inquiries nyo or yung mga questions nyo. Sana iisa na yung maging sagot nyo next time na meron tayong sinusunod na mga rules sa math para hindi tayo nagkakagulo. Always be reminded that we have the Pemdas Rule. The Pemdas Rule doesn't negate or hindi niya kino-contradict yung MDAS. Take note, di ba? Sabi niya lagi, proceed as in MDAS. Laging ganun. Kung ano yung natutunan niyo sa MDAS, yun pa din. Kaya lang, meron lang tayong konting nadagdag na 1 and 2 rules doon. So, I hope that everything is resolved and let's be happy lagi pag nagsasolve tayo ng ating math problems. Okay? So, thank you. Shout out kay Jethro Tolentino Ramirez, isang YouTube vlogger. So, I am inviting you to subscribe sa Biyahe ni Jethro sa kanyang YouTube channel kay Jethro Tolentino Ramirez. Thank you.
Huwag niyo pong kalimutan na mag-like, subscribe, and share ng video ito. At kung meron pa po kayong mga gustong itanong o mga topics na dapat na i-discuss ko, please comment down below.